Greetings at home. This is yet another divine appointment, a Wednesday like no other. It is indeed a day that the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. We're coming to you live from our Johannesburg studios, and this is Africa USA Radio, the Evening Pulse. My name is Shamaine Zimu, and I'm not alone. I'll talk about my guest a bit later on. I'm so excited. It is really an amazing evening. It is a bit chilly in Johannesburg, but we're hanging in there. We are going to be live on all social media networks. We are Africa USA Radio. It is exactly 10 minutes past the top of the hour here on the Evening Pulse. It is a Wednesday, so you know what it is. It is our show called The African Innovators. It is the African Innovators segment where we bring you greats of whatever industry to talk about the work they're doing in the community. Obviously, it's work, that inspires, work that educates, and work that is for the betterment of the society. So we're global right now. So they are going to be linking up with you wherever you may be in the world, wherever you may be watching, wherever you may be listening. I greet you. I welcome you to the Evening Pulse. My name is Shamaine Zimu, and this is the Evening Pulse, Africa USA Radio. Tonight we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic that is very close to my heart. When I looked through our guest's profile, this really spoke to me. This specific topic about living your life as a champion. It is very important to live your life, with that mindset of a champion. I'm not going to be tackling this alone. However, I'm going to be talking to our guest, who is an incredible woman. She is really an amazing. I feel like she is the queen of Africa. She really wears a lot of hats. She wears a lot of hats. She is incredible. She's extremely humble. She lives her life like a champion. She is really a Proverbs 31 woman. She walks with grace. She knows who she is. She knows who she is in God, in the community. She serves her country with so much pride, and she's done so many things, really championing for the people of South Africa, actually of Africa. So we're really going to have an amazing show. I'd like to encourage you, wherever you may be, to touch us on our social media networks. We are available. We are Africa USA Radio on all social media networks. And my show is called The Evening Pulse. Do let us know what you think of the show, your suggestions, testimonies, whatever it may be, and we will definitely try and respond. So let's get into it. Living life as a champion. Life can be very difficult, really. And being a champion requires you, to really, have a mindset of a champion, have a mindset of winning, have a mindset of not giving up. And this really marries very well with faith that we've been talking about in the past weeks, because how do you champion on without faith in God? You know what I mean? How do you look at tomorrow in a positive eye, without faith? So we really need to work on our faith, go back to the drawing board, go back to God, and really ask Him to strengthen your faith so that you can soldier on and really look at life in those eyes. The Bible says in Proverbs 23 verse 7, as a man thinketh, so is he. So whatever you may think of, whatever you fill your mind with, that is who you will end up being. The way you see yourself dramatically affects the person that you are right now and the person that you'll be in future. Champions themselves think differently. They don't think like the rest of us. I feel like I'm one of the champions, but champions do not have a mindset, of just an ordinary being. they know who they are. I don't want to tackle this alone. We've got a guest, like I said. We are so honored today. We've got a guest who is a champion. She's a mother. She's a doctor of philosophy. She's an entrepreneur. She's a broadcaster. She's a legend in the broadcasting space. She's a social worker. She's done so many inspirational talker. She's an author. She's done all these things, and trust me, she's done it with grace, with flair, with intelligence. Upansi, she's amazing. I really look up to her, and I know a lot of you do that too. You look up to Usiswami that I'm about to introduce. She's worked with different government, stakes, different households, different brands, as in the government sector as well as in the media sector. She's done great things. She's an ambassador for the Mandela 46664 campaign. She's done so much, South African Women Dialogue. She's part of that. She's an ambassador. She's an ambassador for SABC Health Foundation, Brand SA. There's so many things, so many hats. Really, really, she's an incredible, incredible woman. If I were to read you her story, her profile, you guys, I will probably finish tomorrow. She's really, really a remarkable woman, a queen, a light. The Bible says we are the light and the salt of the world. She is indeed the real example of what the Bible is talking about right there. And my sister is Criselda Kananda. Welcome to the show. Oh,
thank you. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. I'm officially blushing now.
Can I tell you, Criselda, I love you so much. Like, I've been counting nights. Thinking, when is she coming? Pella, this is not just anybody. I need to prepare. How do I look? What do I talk about? How does my voice sound? Lighting, everything needed to be perfect for you.
Love right back at you. Thank you.
Queens, that's what we do for queens. I promise you. So you've done a whole lot of things. Tonight we're going to be just talking about you living your life as a champion. You looking at life in a very positive light, and really living your life as an example. You advocate for so many things, for so many issues that we go through in South Africa. And I'm not going to base a lot of things on South Africa, because we have similarities throughout the world. A lot of issues that they go through, we go through. And you are one person who advocates for those things, who talks about those things, who sheds light, who uses her experiences and really, really helps us in all our journeys. We really want to say we love you, are proud of you, and we really look up to you here in Africa, USA, and South Africa as a whole, right?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Africa, USA. I have to say greetings to everyone who's tuning in right now. We're coming all the way from Johannesburg in South Africa. And as already been introduced, I'm Criselda Kananda. And I'm really, really so excited to be here. And thank you. Thank you for sharing this space with me.
Thank you so much. We are honored. So let's get right into it. Who is Criselda Kananda? Who is Criselda? Your household name. You hear Criselda Kananda, everybody just gets up and thinks, but what is happening? That's a dignitary. That's just not anybody, Who is Criselda Kananda? Take us through your life journey and what.
If I were to just tell my story and share with you what God has done in my life, it would take the entire show. So I'll just summarize it to the best of my ability. That I've seen God's mercy in my life. This is the God that has taken me from being a street kid, from coming from humble beginnings of a broken home, to being a teenage mom, to testing HIV positive in marriage, and to so many things that can break normal mere mortals. But when you call yourself God's favorite daughter, when all these storms come, God will just elevate you, and people will keep asking
Amen.
how you do it. And my
Yeah.
response is always, I drink Jesus juice,
Yes,
and
right. I love that.
from glory to glory, and I remain so humbled by what God has achieved in my life and continues to do so.
Wow, he's amazing. He is really an amazing God. He's faithful in so many ways. He's faithful in so la what he's done, and then he starts again. Then something bigger, you know. And really, I love your heart. I feel like God knew your heart somehow when you were young. You went through all these, because we have to go through all these hurdles to get to a better, to become better, and to get to a better position, right? But I feel
You
like
can
God
never
knew
give,
your heart.
you can never give
You
a
know,
testimony without a test, right?
Thank you. Yes, you have to go through the fire. It's important to go through it, right? The Bible says God knows, the plans He has for us. It says in His Word that His plans are to prosper us and to give us peace, right? His plans are not to harm us in any way, shape, or form. I know you are a believer. I know you believe in God and Jesus Christ. I want to talk to you about purpose. It is important as a child of God to understand that we are on this earth for His divine purpose. And we need to get to a point where we figure it out, right? We figure it out and we live within it, right? I want to find out from you as Criselda. You've achieved so many things, and really God keeps taking you from strength to strength. Do you feel like you found your purpose? And for a person that is at home, that is battling, South Africa is still celebrating Youth Month. Young people are, in a position of, not knowing where to go, especially after the pandemic. They're going through so much, so much turmoil, so much mental instabilities. How do you figure it out that this is my purpose, Ashame?
Well, I'll talk about as Criselda,
Yes.
that I knew
Please.
I
Yeah.
knew that God has placed me on earth for a special purpose. When I look at, for instance, I was born in a dirty linen room in a hospital in Boksburg, Benoni. There's a suburb called Benoni in South Africa. When my mom went, when she had labor pains and she went to this hospital, it was a white only hospital at the time. She was chased away for being wrong race. I know that the world at large knows South Africa's history, history of apartheid. She was chased away for being wrong race. And as she was crying, her waters broke by the door, and a nurse smuggled her into a linen room and helped her to give birth. And that nurse also went a step further, because by the time I was born, I was desperately in need of oxygen, because the young mom to be was already pushing, not even knowing
Hey,
what she was
boss.
doing.
Yeah.
And this nurse took a car and took baby and mom to the closest Blacks Only hospital to be able to get an incubator, get oxygen. And as mom was expressing gratitude at the time, she asked her, "What's your name? I'd love for my child to be like you." And her name was Criselda, and that's where I got this name, Criselda. And
Wow.
when my mom said, "I would like her to be like you," at the time she didn't realize that was prophecy, because Criselda ended up, being ridiculed, being called all sorts. She died of stress-related complications, because the environment at the time, you wouldn't be seen helping a Black woman to give birth
Wow.
local. That it was too much for her peers, and she just could not take the environment, and she ended up dying depressed. But I live every day of my life with so much gratitude to human beings like Criselda, the late Criselda, knowing that there's greatness in all humanity. And when
Wow.
my mom shared the story, I promised Criselda's spirit, that I will do everything within my power
Yes.
to be that light to humanity, to be that light to give people hope. Where I can, wherever I pass, people must just know that God's favorite daughter was
Oh,
around. Because
amen.
faith upon my mom on that day, and my life was spared so that I can be that light, I can be that hope for future generations. And I look
Sure.
at me being a street kid.
Hmm.
Today I minister to young people who live in the streets. Today I'm able to feed children who are in the streets with empathy, knowing and understanding that there could be a Criselda amongst them.
Hey.
Being a teen mom, I look at how I connect to young people throughout our country in South Africa, throughout Africa actually. The
Africa,
next
yeah.
days I'll be in Zambia speaking to young women who are entering a beauty pageant. And when my name was raised, nobody objected to say that, but she's not a beauty queen. People were more interested
Yeah.
in her wisdom and what she has to impart. And I'm looking forward to connecting with those young people, for us to just focus on beauty with purpose, that we don't
Amen. I love
beauty
that.
outwardly, we connect beauty inwardly. And when I tested HIV positive, not only did God create platforms for me to inform and educate and enlighten in the global space. I've been to stages where, had it not been that incident where I tested HIV
Yes,
positive,
yes.
I would not have been in those platforms where I get to interact with your late Nelson Mandelas of this world, your Melinda and Gates of this world, and the list goes on and on of people that I've interacted with, your Kofi Annans of this world, first ladies around our continent, through the First Ladies Organization, the WAFLA, the Organization of First Ladies in our continent, and teaching about HIV and wellness and well-being, simply through that test, I bear testimony that we will place dominion over anything that creeps and crawls, including
Amen.
viruses like HIV, and just restoring hope and giving people light at the end of a very dark tunnel that would otherwise declare them as hopeless and helpless. The list goes on and on of grace just keep showing on and showing off. And yeah, I don't know how much more I can add. There's just
Yeah.
so much that God
I
has
love,
taken.
yeah, that is amazing. I love that. That is such a beautiful story. I love the story, the Criselda story. And I feel like there's so many Criseldas. And Abanya, you've met them. You don't know right now. That's how God works. God uses people, to enter into our lives for his divine purpose sometimes. And it's really through that, people like that lady, people like you, with that heart of giving and helping, that his purpose is met. I love that. Speaking of mothers, we live in South Africa. There's just mothers are caregivers. Mothers are, there's so many things I can say about mothers. They are the light. Mothers are the light. They are caregivers. They are, they are who we go to when things don't go right. They give the best advice. They always know, what is right for us. And we find that in South Africa, so many things are going wrong, especially where women are concerned. There's a brutal scourge that keeps rising where women are found, killed, women are abused, women and children. I want your take on that. I know we're talking about positivity and living your life as a champion, but I want us to just touch on that. what have we done wrong? What is it as women can we do to change the situation, to change the status quo? What can children do? Are we not praying enough? What's your take on that?
I feel like women are organizing themselves and talking to themselves as they are the perpetrators of this violence against women and children. And I feel like, even campaigns like, I know that this is a global phenomenon where we have 16 days of no violence against women and children. We talk about what we are against, but we don't mention what we are for. And because we speak by ourselves and we leave men behind. And if I can use South Africa as an example, South Africa has a very violent past. And in that violent past, men were brutally abused. And many of them don't know how to be. Many of them did not have role models. Many of them did not have people they looked up to. And because of that past, because of our history, all the wounds that we endured during that period, we have not given ourselves an opportunity to heal. And healing, providing restoration for the moral fiber of our society, for restoration of families, because it has become almost a norm for families to have a single parent, which is unfortunate because we bring up imbalanced children as human beings. We need mothers and fathers raising children. And in our dialogues, in our conversations, we need to bring men along. We need to listen more to men. And pay attention and listen. We will hear that men are hurting too. They just don't know where to channel the pain. How to express the pain, where to channel the pain. We have social norms that teach men that a man is a tiger, you don't cry. And as a result, they're not connecting to their inner being. They're not connecting to their self. As a result, they want to go around playing macho even when they need to be breaking down. So in us going back to just look at where we've gone wrong, campaigns like Men Are Trash, when you have given birth to boys, what is the message that you are channeling to those young men today? Because when you are a mother and you are an activist in the public platform, you talk about how trashy men are, almost purporting that you hate the male gender. And when you get home, how do you then instill love, impart respect, impart empathy to this young man that you're raising? Yes, we are burdened with this challenge of gender-based violence. And these violent men, where do they come from? Because they don't grow in trees. They come from families. Who is giving birth to them? Who is raising them? What are their behavior patterns? What are the contributing factors to who they become? And we need to, not look at addressing gender-based violence in the surface and just say people must just seek help. It's way much deeper than that. Provide platforms. We need to provide platforms and showcase what healing looks like. Because many of them, nobody's born hating. Nobody's born abusive. Many of them have learned the behavior along the way. And many of them do want to change. But we don't showcase what change looks like. What we showcase more is, the pain that is perpetrated. We showcase the bad, the ugly, but we don't show them what it looks like when if they were to seek help and be healed and become better. Because when people know better, they do better and they become better.
That is amazing. Speaking of men, okay, I'm going to talk about the opposite. Women, daughters. We are raising daughters, not only sons. We're raising daughters. And really, I want to find out. I want you to talk to a woman at home that is raising daughters, but doesn't know how to help them become independent, but still know who they are, who the core, woman is. They are women in the Bible, your Hannahs, who really, really cried to God and had faith in God that God would change the situation. We need to be raising daughters of that kind, who are actually, who we are instilling positivity, and really good values while they're still young. What word of advice can you give to your mom at home to say, yes, you can be independent, yes, you can make your own money, but at the same time, you need to embrace who you are as a woman, remain soft, remain mellow, remain, be nurturing, but still assertive. What advice can you give to those women?
I think more than anything, we're failing our daughters when we don't tell them that they are enough, and get them to experience love at home. If you do not have a male partner, find a male figure within your family to get young women to experience being loved by a man in a non-sexual environment. Get your brother to take them out, dine them, get them to, experience love that is not attached to sexuality.
Yes,
and when we do that, we are giving them the opportunity to love themselves wholly and know that they are loved and appreciated at home, that no stranger is going to come in the name of love and want to be caring for you when they have ulterior motives. And we are very critical of our girl children. We look at how they dress, we look at their body types, we body shame them, and the body shaming happens in our families as well. And we need to change this because there's nothing as beautiful as a child who grows up knowing that I am loved unconditionally by my parents, by my siblings. At home, I'm the most valued precious jewel. Because if I'm treated like that at home, I begin to treat myself like that. And be treated like that by society. And that's going to help. That's going to help that young girl, that as they grow up to become a woman, they set boundaries. They set a certain standard. They know who they are. They know their value. They know their worth. They don't fall for anything because they acknowledge that anything that falls will break. They know that they are the most, valued and prized possession.
Queen.
Connect with the love that God loves humanity. Because when you know that there is that agape love that is just for you, it teaches you to appreciate yourself. It teaches you to love yourself, that even when you are with a partner, you love yourself enough for both of you, that you will not fall for things that have nothing to do with love in the name of love. So it begins with what we instill in our homes. We need, when they say that you become a cheerleader of your child, pump them up with love, get them to even if it makes them seem like, they are just too much of themselves, it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
Let them be. And there's nothing as beautiful as a woman who's whole, a woman who knows what she's worth, a woman a woman who knows who she is and who she is.
Amen. I love that. Speaking of society, I want to find out, there is a concept that you are busy with, that you birthed, called positive talk. I feel like it marries very well with our talk about living your life as a champion. Positive talk is I feel like it has a lot of branches. There's so much to it, and that's just your life. That's just the type of life that you live. You are touching a lot of spaces and influencing them in a positive way. Speak to us about what positive talk is, and what are you trying to minister to us, at home, and what are you trying for us to take from it going forward?
Positive Talk was born, Positive Talk Services was born in 2006,
Yes.
where I was invited to give a talk to traditional leaders. The invitation said you are going to address traditional leaders and men, and they left it at that. So I prepared that talk and I gave it my all. When I finished, people started clapping, ululating. Those who could whistle, they whistled. I mean, the applause was going louder and louder. And as I looked towards my far right, the attention was no longer on me. Madiba was entering the room. Those who don't know Madiba, that is the world's grandfather, the most upstate man, and that is Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela gets on stage. As he enters the room, I mean, the applause was just resounding. And he gets on stage, tears up his speech in front of international press, and he says, I don't have much to say. Criselda is light for the world to see. I said everything that's in my speech. There's no reason, there's no need for me to speak anymore. And that was it for him. He was like, if you listened attentively to everything she said, that was going to be my message. And then he teared up his speech. And of course, I mean, that drew attention from all kinds of press. And when a person says you are light for the world to see, at the time, I was ready for that message. And I started, I always joke about this, that as we were walking out, he starts whispering in my ear. He says, you look like somebody I know. And we both laughed because I looked at him and I was like, I know. In South Africa, there's that belief that I look so much like Mamuini Mandela.
Yes.
So we both laughed, and that picture made international media as we were embracing and laughing, looking at each other. And I looked at that picture and I asked myself, what am I taking out of this moment? Because that was a momentous occasion, something that can never repeat itself in my lifetime. And I was thinking deeper. I thought, let me take this light that Madiba said I am to the world, as he prophesied. And Positive Talk Services was born. At the time, I was saying, yes, I'm HIV positive, and the world views being positive in such a negative light.
Yes.
And I want to go back to the time when positive meant good. It meant more. It meant adding. It meant, plenty. And I thought, let me just bring positive to the world. Not only was the first radio show born out of that message, my first television show was also born out of that message. And it purely was, the vision and mission of it was just getting people to basics, getting them back to basics where we become grateful for what we have, as opposed to complaining about what we don't have. That yes, you may be challenged by a chronic condition at the time. Look around you. There's information at your disposal. There are people reaching out, wanting to help out. And when we focus so much on the pain, we lose sight of the help that is already underway. I learned from that message or instilled that people need to get to a place where we begin to count our blessings. Oftentimes, the focus is so much on the pain but we don't celebrate joyous things that are occurrences that are happening in our midst. I decided many of the challenges we face begins in our minds. And if we can change our negative attitudes to positive, that continuously, when you are placing a challenge in front of you, find the positive in it. Because there's always a positive in it. And
that's beautiful.
Some would recall that I used to have dots that were across my face.
I recall.
Yin and Yang, and those of you who can Google, you can Google Criselda Kananda, you'll find them. For me, that message was mimicking yin and yang, that there's always two sides to any story.
Wow.
Darkness, if you don't switch on the light, you'll forever cast the darkness. It will not go away. Switch on the light. African proverb. That when the nighttime, daytime will come. Whether you want it to come or you don't, it will come. It's the universal law. When it's winter, summertime will come. So whatever you're going through, whatever you're experiencing, it never lasts forever. And lastly, exercising faith. I mean, at the core of Positive Talk Services message is for us to be faithful to what we believe in. If I say I'm God's favorite daughter, you cannot come across a God's favorite daughter looking shabby and looking like, she's begging for mercy. God's favorite daughter knows that she has an all-access key to everything that she wishes to be, and everything that she wants in life. God's favorite daughter knows that when she's going through trials, that is just a test for her to bear testimony. There can never be a testimony without a test. And God's favorite daughter would know that when you are challenged by circumstances, any circumstance, it's for God's glory to show off. And as you let go of you and how you would handle a situation and rather surrender to your Creator, as you surrender, God takes over. And not only does God show up, but God shows off as well.
Yes. Benny over doesn't. I love how you spoke about there's always that good. In a midst of a storm, there's always that good that you can pick up. I feel like even with COVID, the time when COVID was really hardcore, there were a little bit of positive things that happened. For instance, I was busy before that. I know a lot of people actually share the same, testament. So many things were going on. We didn't even know, when to stop and really reconnect with God. Our relationship with God, our relationship with family, the family structure was messed up. So that time gave us an opportunity to really reconnect, reintrospect, really find that time, that alone time with yourself and God. So I feel you when you said that is very, very powerful. We really, really need to start changing our mindset. We need to feed our minds with positivity so that we can live in such a fashion. It is exactly 10 minutes before the top of the hour. We've taken so much time, Criselda, and I have so many questions to still ask you. You wrote Positive Living. That's a manual that you wrote. You also wrote a memoir called You Are Never Alone. For those who would like to get themselves a copy, what are they about and where can we get copies, please?
With Positive Living, I became so disheartened by how we just did not mind our language when we were talking about HIV. We called people victims. We said HIV is caught as if it's a ball. We gave HIV all kinds of names, war metaphors. I decided that I was just going to go back to basics and look at what science was saying. Science was saying this is a human immune deficiency causing virus. There was no dialogue in what an immune system is and what an immune deficiency condition is. It was all about sexualizing the viral infection. That the minute you are said to be HIV positive, everybody is looking to who was the partner and who was the partner's partner. And your history will be laid out that and so and so and so and so was part of the cycle. And I decided to just decode all of this and go back. And I also said, there's a myth that when you want to hide information, especially for Africans, put it in a book. So I was inspired to audio book it so that a person just pops the CD and listens whenever they're driving through, and inspire families to listen together and have conversations around HIV to just take away the fear, to take away the myths, to take away the misinformation. And that gave birth to so many talk shows. And I'm just so grateful. And if I can just break down how I the pillars that I focused on that CD was, decoding health, what we mean by health, looking at what we eat. There are certain people who eat for life, who eat for a living, and not eat so they can be healthy. And talking about just excelling and producing quality in everything that you do.
In everything you do, yes.
Intentional in the choices that you make about yourself, for yourself, and using knowledge as your power. I mean, amongst the knowledgeable things I learned was that when you are infected with HIV, 1 in every 10,000 of your cells is infected. So when one cell is infected, 9,900
they function, right?
And functioning. But because we are replicating the pace of infection from our negative attitudes and fear-based approach. So I was dealing with all that and getting people to focus on knowledge, that knowledge will give you power. And I saw that power where I would address ministers of health in the SADC region, address scientists and tell them that this is what your science says, but as a layperson, this is what we go through. Let me marry your science with what we are challenged by as people living with this condition. And that, changed a whole lot of narratives.
Can imagine.
And as for the memoir, You Are Never Alone, I was looking at my journey. From traveling, I set myself out to walk almost 340 kilometers by foot. I thought it was just a walking distance, and I was only 7 at the time. And I looked at the mercy and grace that was upon me through that journey. Even in sleeping in the streets, learning the use of plastic bags and cupboards as your mattress, plastic bag as your blanket, and what that taught me today about every winter giving blankets to those who don't have, because I know what it's like to yearn for something just warm up your body. So in that write-up, I am expressing the fact that in whatever circumstance, in whatever situation you are faced with, there's always somebody paying attention, wanting to help, or somebody who doesn't know. They could help, but they don't know what you are going through. So encouraging families to sit together, listen to children. The reason I was running away at the time was because the next door neighbor's son was molesting me, and I didn't have a language for it. I didn't know
what it was.
It felt wrong. It just felt wrong, and that's all I had. So paying attention to our girl children, our boy children, paying attention to children. I tell these stories for us to begin to look at how we raise our children. When they go for holiday sleepovers, What happens if by more the uncles that are in homes that are trusted? So many stories that I've been through, but not telling them from a place of seeking sympathy, but from a place of showing God's grace at every circumstance, and saying there were people known to me and unknown to me, related to me and unrelated to me, who were willing to help. So
Yes.
at any given moment, when you go through something, there's always someone wanting to help. You are never, ever alone. Oftentimes, we build triple stories with our misery and hide ourselves with, long walls and not step out to say, I need help. I burdened. I feel a certain way. Where do I channel these emotions? Do I go for empathy? Do I go to an aunt? Do I go to where do I seek help? But say something to somebody.
Say something to somebody. You are never alone. I feel like God placed each and every one of us. Yes. Sorry about that.
Makers are listening to the story, and that will become a movie one day. And I know that it will heal many families.
That is amazing. I feel like just on that point, we are on this earth for each other. isiZulu sithi umuntu umuntu ngabantu. We are here for each other. I feel like if God is about to bless you, to place a blessing into your life, he's not going to come concerned and really help you. He's going to touch somebody next to you to actually lend a helping hand. So we really need each other. We need to have that mentality that be your brother's keeper, be your sister's keeper. We really need each other. That is so profound. That is so powerful. We are running out of time, Criselda. I have so many questions to ask you. I wanted to ask you just on that filmmakers listening to the whole story behind. If there were to be a movie played about your life, or just how would you like to be remembered? How would Criselda like to be remembered? Maybe in just 3 words. How would you like to be remembered?
I'm sure you know my late friend who was also a broadcaster, Miss Cooley Roberts.
Cooley Roberts, yes, I do.
That stayed with me, and I take it with me wherever I go. That instead of remembering me, I don't want to be remembered. When my time is done, that's it about me. Focus on loving each other here and now. Focus on loving each other. Focus on caring for one another. Worry about your fellow brother and sister when you don't see them. Inquire where they are. It will be pointing for you to celebrate me when I'm no more, when you never did when I was still alive. Allow me to be Moses whilst I can. Appreciate me whilst I can still say thank you. Waiting for a time when you don't know where I'm going to be. You don't know whether I'm able to hear you. So I would rather that we care for one another once we live, once we're here.
As we close, as we seal this entire thing, please give us just a roundup advice. In the past 2 years with COVID, so many people have lost a lot of things. People have lost their jobs. People are sitting now very demotivated. People who are very hopeful, people who are, filled with energy and faith and that zest for life have lost it all. People have lost their family members. Economically, we are still trying to recuperate. So many things have happened, Sis Criselda. I just needed to give us advice on how to move on from here. How do we move on from here after we've lost so much?
Yeah, it's such a difficult question to answer because when people have lost, nobody can replenish on their behalf. So we are going to need to be willing to do the work ourselves. That what you have lost, what you are missing in your life. Go out, seek it. You know that the pain has caused you hurt. The pain has caused mental health challenges. seek help, seek counseling. And there's one thing that COVID has taught us is to live as though this were your last minute, because your next second is not guaranteed. All that's guaranteed is here and now. And if I can quote this beautiful write-up by Steve Moraboli, Steve says,
please.
love yourself enough to take the actions required for your own happiness, enough to cut yourself loose from drama.
Yes, don't drama. I like how you said, don't drama.
Yes, and your drama-filled past. Enough to set high standards for relationships that you enter into. Enough to feed your mind and body in a very healthy manner, because this is the only body you have. Enough to give yourself, enough to forgive yourself at all times for the mistakes that you made. Enough to move on when you need to move on. So what we went through during COVID was that period. We are here now. Embrace the here and now. Take the lessons that have been learned from that period. Utilize them moving forward. And if there's one thing all of us have in common, is that life is a death sentence and death is guaranteed. And therefore, you live this moment with everything in you. Live out loud, laugh out loud. And I love that movie about eating and praying. And
love, eat, pray. That's a beautiful movie. Yes.
Just live. I mean, life is for the living. And if you don't live, you regret. I once spoke at an old age home. And before I did my talk, I was asking all of them, if there's one thing you regret, what would it be? And all of them were saying, if only I lived a little bit more. If only I
had the time. Yes.
So don't wait until you are, if only. You're saying, if only. Do it now. Do it today.
Yes, amen. And that was Criselda Kananda. Where can we catch you? If we would like for bookings, all those things, where can we catch you? Please give us your handles for our listeners and the people that are watching us.
Right, I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter as Criselda Kananda, Dr. Criselda Kananda on some. And you can send us an email, info@positivetalk, one word, .co.za. And I'm accessible in all platforms on LinkedIn. I'm trying TikTok now and having teenage daughters. They're trying to hook me up, and look out for the TikTok messages as well.
Yes, please, they need to hook you up.
At Positive GP. At Positive GP is my handle. At Positive, so that you remember the positive.
Yes, at Positive on all social media networks. It's Criselda Kananda. She's available on all social media networks for bookings, for if you'd like her to come and talk. Do you have like private sessions? I wanted to ask you this. Do you have private sessions where you where you coach, like a one-on-one live coaching session?
Well, I used to have them until the demand was just overwhelming.
I can imagine.
So now I refer because there's only one Criselda.
Go.
Teach sessions, but when you need a one-on-one, I refer. I work closely with various organizations, your SADCs, South African Depression Anxiety Group, Lifeline, many organizations that I refer to. But I'm available and accessible. Each post, when it lands on my DMs, I personally respond. I don't have a team of people who will respond on my behalf. And sometimes removing empathy, I personally respond.
Thank you so much, Criselda. We love you so much here on Africa USA Radio. We wish you all the best. Sorry? We wish you all the best.
On a radio station here in South Africa, where I do relational talks. Right now, when I finish here, I must dash off, go and prepare for that show.
Yes, thank you for taking the time. I know you're very busy. You are an extremely busy woman. We are honored that you took the time to spend with us. We don't take that for granted. We speak grace and blessings upon your life. May God cover you. May God shield you from the enemy. May God really enlarge you. May you breathe. I feel like you've reached so much. Like you are on your peak.